Greetings. My name is Umar, and with me are my colleagues Nancy, Andrew, and Anna. In this short video, we'll talk about ride-sharing platforms, specifically the Lyft platform. Pioneered by Uber in 2009, ride-sharing is a service that connects drivers and clients or passengers using their mobile devices. And the main ride-sharing platforms include Uber, Didi, and Lyft. Other lesser-known platforms include, for example, Grab, Wings, and Sav. Ride-sharing is app-based, and each company has its own app that searches for and matches drivers and riders. Most ride-share apps have the same formula, and reservations, payment, and account management are handled through the app. We share with you the challenges, the status quo, the model, the solution, the benefits of Lyft's current legacy prime time system, and the PPZ, that is the Personal Power Zone product, in incentivizing driver positioning and relocation, and offer some suggestions for improvements for management of this platform.
So the challenges that Lyft faced were essentially a result of a supply and demand mismatch. During times of high demand for rides, which can be hard to predict ahead of time, Lyft, like many other ride-sharing platforms, would use surge pricing to try to reactively dampen the high demand and also incentivize drivers to meet the demand in these surge areas. But what Lyft noticed was that many drivers would not actually try to move themselves to these higher priced areas. Both Lyft and academics who tried to study this issue failed to consider that the dynamic and rapidly changing nature of surge prices meant that drivers did not have perfect information to know when and how long the surge pricing period would last. So the challenge for Lyft was, how can they design a more optimal pricing system that would incentivize drivers to relocate to higher demand areas where they could also earn higher bonuses? The old status quo of how Lyft would address this challenge was the use of a surge pricing system called Primetime, or PT. PT was depicted in the app as heat maps showing the magnitude of elevated fares in different locations. There were two major shortcomings of the old PT pricing system. First, the pricing structure for driver bonuses for taking PT rides was proportional to the trip length rather than additive. So this actually incentivized drivers to cherry pick the longer rides. What Lyft wanted to incentivize was having drivers take many short rides in the PT area to alleviate demand. But the problem was, if a driver took a short ride, they wouldn't know if the PT pricing would be over by the time of their next ride. So that dovetails into the second issue of the old status quo solution. PT was a dynamic pricing system that was constantly updating itself. This resulted in significant pricing volatility in the timing, magnitude, and location of the PT pricing areas. The authors of our paper mentioned how prices could update themselves as quickly as every 2 minutes. This actually disincentivized drivers from trying to relocate themselves to areas of higher PT because they could not reliably predict how long or how high the prices would stay for any given location. So now I'm going to turn it over to Anna to explain how Lyft used optimization models to revamp the status quo PT system.
So to address these issues, ride-sharing companies like Lyft have developed the Personal Power Zone system, which uses an ESCO mechanism to track available incentive budget in real time and tie them to specific locations within a city. Additionally, an algorithm for driver positioning is used to optimize the positioning of drivers within a city to maximize revenue from riders' fares. These strategies aim to balance riders' demand, drive incentives, and company profit in a more transparent and efficient manner. More specifically, a ride-sharing platform faces the challenge of spending a dynamic budget before collecting it. To solve this, platform use fast real-time data from upfront fares to create virtual accounts associated with ride request location called local accounts. An ESCO mechanism updates in response to driver and rider events, such as pickups and cancellations. This allows the platform to track how much to spend and offer incentive to drivers, improving the spatial distribution of drivers and matching rider demand. The sequential algorithm updates account balance in real time, optimized for driver reposition and bonus payout, and uses an escrow mechanism to distribute PT income and PPZ payout to various accounts. It optimizes for driver relocation to match future rider requests, produce bonus payout value for the PPZ, and creates PPZ to incentive drivers to reposition. An equal split payout is used among drivers guided to the same PPZ destination to maintain parity between PT income and the driver bonus. The driver position algorithm aims to maximize expected revenue-weighted rider request conversions throughout the city. PPZ allocation fractions are set based on constraints on several service levels, driver representation dynamic, and budget restriction. The incentive computation algorithm attempts to set the monetary payout so that every driver sent to the same location is offered the same expected bonus. The decision variables are set of per PPZ bonus values unique to each destination location, and the set of contribution fraction indicating the portion of the available balance in each escrow account to be set aside from every PPZ offer. The expected expansion result from drivers who respond to the PPZ construction should not exceed the available budget.
So with all of that said, what's the bottom line here? Well, when Lyft implemented the system, there were clear improvements that could be divided into 3 categories: improvements for the driver, improvement for the rider, and then improvements for the business. The improvements for the business was kind of netted out at a 0.5% increase in incremental booking. That doesn't sound like a large increase, but it actually comes down to tens of millions of dollars of revenue per year. This increase is significant enough that the test was then accepted and then implemented in all 320 cities and is continuing today. The increase for the riders, there was a result in increased driver activity and more driver hours. That means that riders were able to find rides quickly in the hot zones. And then when it comes down to the benefits for the drivers, their cancel rates were lowered and they earned more per hour, increasing from 20 cents to 50 cents per hour, which means that everybody benefited with this new system. But a system like this has its challenges. When we kind of read through this and we talked through this solution, we came up with a list of critiques that areas where we can improve this already incredible system. The first one is the budgeting for the PPZ is based on a lagging indicator. That means it's reactive. It is always going to be one step behind processing the data of what happened 2 minutes ago. There's ways to forecast this information, and that is a potential area for improvement. It doesn't also factor in competitors such as Uber that could also be flooding an area with drivers, making it a little bit more of a supply and demand inequality. Finally, there's potential for a paid tiered system. Right now, every driver is created equally, but if there was a system where higher profile drivers received more, then they would be more likely to go to an area. One other additional criticism that we had, which is something that's really difficult to factor in, it doesn't consider driver safety or passenger safety. The topography of the locations were all considered equal, but living in some of the areas that we do, we know that there are sometimes areas you don't want to go to in a city. Drivers are going to be disincentivized from going there, and it doesn't matter how big that incentive is, they're just not going to want to drive to that part of the city or that part of the area. And this should be factored into an equation such as the PPZ in order to kind of forecast a little bit more appropriately the flow of the traffic. But with that, we want to thank everybody. If you were interested in this information, we left a reference at the end of the slide. And from here on out, thank you.